Hi, my name is Alexandria Cavazos, and I'm going to speak with you regarding the basics of patient confidentiality, informed consent, and advanced directives. We'll start with confidentiality. A patient confidentiality position statement is explained in the American Nurses Association Code of Ethics for Nurses and explains the ethical basis for nurses to keeping patient information private. The U.S. Constitution also addresses patient confidentiality, as well as many state and federal statutes and bills of rights. HIPAA, or the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act of 1996, addresses patients' rights to confidentiality concerning protected health information, or PHI. This legislation ensures patient information remains confidential and is not released to any third party without the patient's permission. Patient information may only be accessed by healthcare professionals in direct care with the patient or those who need to know within the healthcare setting. There are some exceptions to this rule of non-disclosure that gives you the right to release patient information. These instances include when the patient gives written or verbal permission to release specific information and to whom, other healthcare workers or agencies who have the right to know certain information, legal duties to report including gunshot wounds, suspected abuse, or communicable diseases, when the release of protected health information is at the best interest of the public or protecting an unidentifiable victim. There are dire consequences to the disclosure of confidential health information, including disciplinary actions from the State Board of Nursing, including losing your nursing license temporarily or permanently, job loss, fines, and civil lawsuits. There are many things a nurse can do to ensure that their patient information is not shared unnecessarily, avoiding a breach in confidentiality. This includes logging off of computers before walking away, refraining from posting on social media concerning their patients, only discussing patient information in private areas and with people who have the right to know the information, shredding any documents with PHI on it, and verifying callers before disclosing information. Next, we will discuss informed consent. Fields and Calvert defines informed consent as the right of adult patients to decide whether to consent to treatment. It involves the communication between the patient and a healthcare provider, which gives the permission to the physician or advanced healthcare practitioner to perform a healthcare intervention on the patient. This communication may be face-to-face, over the phone, video, mail, or fax. The necessary information required for informed consent is the description of the procedure, risks and benefits of the procedure, reasonable alternatives and their risk benefits, material risks and benefits a reasonable person would want to know before undergoing or refusing the treatment, and communicated understanding by the patient of the information given by the physician. As a nurse, it is our job to make sure that all of the necessary information is thoroughly explained, that the patient signs the consent, all nursing procedures involved in the healthcare intervention are explained, and that we witness the informed consent. It is also our duty to contact the physician if the patient changes their mind and withdraws consent, the consent is not in the medical record, or if further patient education is needed prior to the procedure. Nurses must remember that explaining procedures or answering any questions regarding the procedure is not in our scope of practice. There are exceptions to informed consent in emergency situations. These include the physician believes delay in treatment would cause serious bodily harm to the patient is unconscious, there is no patient or guardian or next of kin, a reasonable person would consent under the circumstances, or the healthcare provider has no reason to believe that the patient would refuse the treatment. If a patient is unconscious or has a mental illness, it is up to the physician to determine the patient's incompetence and decide if the procedure will be performed as long as there is no directive or advanced directive and next of kin. Lastly, we will discuss advanced directives. Shapiro defines advanced directives as a legal document in which competent people give instructions for medical decision-making on their behalf should they lose decision-making capacity in the future. There are 3 instruments that fall under the term advanced directive. These include a living will, durable power of attorney, and do not resuscitate or allow natural death order. A living will gives instructions regarding a patient would like to be provided with life support systems, including artificial respirations, CPR, artificial means of nutrition and hydration, and whether the patient wishes to be withheld or removed from these according to certain instructions. A statement from the physician indicating that the patient's condition is not likely to improve is needed before any action is taken regarding the living will. In a durable power of attorney, a competent adult appoints a proxy or decision maker to determine the course of treatment if they are unable to do so themselves. Ideally, the chosen proxy would be someone who the patient has a trusting relationship with and believes would carry out the patient's wishes or make decisions in the patient's best interest. A do not resuscitate order, or DNR, implements the refusal of CPR or life-sustaining treatment in the event it is necessary to keep the patient alive. This order does not mean that the patient will not be treated. They will still receive palliative or pain relief treatment to keep them comfortable. If there is no advance directive and the patient becomes incapacitated, a surrogate may be the decision maker regarding the withdrawal or uphold of life-sustaining treatment. The surrogate classes are in order as follows: the spouse, adult children, then parents, adult siblings, adult grandchildren, nieces, nephews, aunts, and uncles, relatives familiar with the patient, and lastly, if there are no family members available, an adult who is concerned for the patient will be able to make decisions. It is the nurse's role to educate the patient on exactly what each of the instruments of advance directive means, document the possession of an advance directive, and make sure that there is a copy in the chart, communicate possession with the physician, and document any changes made to the advance directive. This concludes this in-service on the basics of patient confidentiality, informed consent, and advance directives. Thank you.